For coming out this evening. We're glad you're here to learn more about the different candidates. I'm Josh Bass, President of the Currituck Chamber of Commerce. The Currituck Chamber of Commerce is a nonpartisan business membership organization, and we neither support nor oppose any political party or candidate here this evening. Please take a moment to check your cell phone and make sure it's turned off or on silent. We are going to plan to film this event and post it later, but technology is not always our friend, so we promise to do our best and we'll get it up as soon as possible. We've invited all the candidates from the U.S. House of Representatives down the ballot here this evening, and they each have 5 minutes to speak to you, and we will go in reverse alphabetical order by last name. Let's see. And then we have candidates set up around the room. So after they're done speaking, feel free to go up and talk to them, ask them questions, interact. They are here to talk with you this evening. Do I have any chamber board members present in the room? I have Sandy Ayers there in the back. I have Becky Howard. I have Denise Hall. So thank you to the chamber board members for being with us this evening. Do I have any chamber ambassadors? I know I saw Donna, Sandy Ayers again. Any other chamber ambassadors that I missed? Thank you for being here with us this evening. From chamber staff, we have our membership director, Juanita Kraus, and our senior manager of social media and events, Miss Letitia Yates. Thank you for being here today. Thank you again to the Currituck Cooperative Extension for the use of the auditorium. Some quick housekeeping. Right there at the back glass doors are the men's and women's room. The sound broadcast in there, so if you need to excuse yourself, you're not going to miss anything. It'll carry through the speakers. So we plan to go through U.S. House of Representatives, North Carolina Senate District 1, North Carolina House District 1, County Commissioner at Large, County Commissioner District 4, Board of Education at Large, Fruitville, and Moyock. And that's the order we will be in tonight, but we'll call each person up for each race. Let's see. Juanita, raise your hand, Juanita. Juanita will be our timekeeper. She will hold up a sign when you have 30 seconds away from your 5 minutes. At the end of your 5 minutes, you can finish your thought, but you need to stop, and we'll try to enforce that as best we can. At this time, I would like to ask Kimberly Twine, Director of the Currituck Board of Elections, to come up and give some information about voting.
Can you hear me okay? Stand on my 2 toes. So first of all, for those of you who don't know me, I am Kimberly or Kim Twine, and I am the director at the elections office in Currituck County. I want to extend thanks to Josh Bass and to his chamber staff for hosting this wonderful event and inviting me to come and be a part of it. I'd also like to thank all of the candidates for their willingness to engage with the community, and of course to our community members who are here tonight to learn, meet the candidates and learn more, just to participate. This forum is a very important part of the election process, providing an opportunity for you, the voters, to hear directly from the candidates who seek to represent you. We at Board of Elections are committed to ensuring a fair and open election process, and tonight's event is an excellent opportunity for the candidates to openly share with you. So I encourage all of you to listen carefully, ask questions, and get to know the people who are asking for your vote. Everyone's participation is vital, and I hope tonight's forum helps you make an informed decision at the polls. And then for a couple of side notes or notes here that Josh asked me to address, first of all, some of y'all might have seen that North Carolina has had a little ballot issue. But we are in the process now of reprinting all ballots. We were prepared this past Friday as we were mandated to start sending out absentee ballots, but that was all halted. And so as soon as we have the new reprinted ballots, that will begin. I don't have a date just yet. The board has not set a date. We have to have all 100 counties must have the new ballots in place, and all of the absentee ballots will start being mailed out at the same time. But we'll start working on it as soon as possible. And finally, I want to remind everyone that early voting starts on Thursday, October 17th, and runs through Saturday, November the 2nd. It'll take place at the main government complex in courtroom C. Hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., with the exception of the last Saturday when we are open November the 2nd. We will be there from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Also, I really want to stress early voting is a precinct. So it runs just like the election day precincts, and the only exception is where we have extended hours for you all. But it is handled exactly like an election day precinct. I know a lot of people are a little bit leery and they're traditional and want to vote on election day, but early voting is handled and it is considered a precinct. If y'all have any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to come by the office. You can also call the office. Our number is 252-232-2525. And one more thing, the last day to register to vote is 5 p.m. on Friday, October the 11th. So with that, that's what I wanted to share this evening, and I want to thank you all again, and I'll turn it back over to Josh.
Thank you, Kimberly. So if you or anybody you know has any questions about how to vote or what you need to do, please contact the Currituck Board of Elections. All right. So first up, we have U.S. House of Representatives. Is Mr. Don Davis here? I don't think I saw him. Okay. Then next up would be Miss Lori Buckout.
Hey, first, thank you again to Josh Bass and to the Chamber of Commerce. It is so much work to put one of these together, so God bless y'all. Thank you so much. Hey, so I'm Lori Buckout. I'm a retired Army colonel. I'm a mom of 2 sons. I'm a wife of 29 years to husband Paul. My husband's a retired infantry officer, Delta Special Operations guy. Now he's happily retired, putting his feet up and chilling on the Albemarle Sound in Love, North Carolina. I kind of planned on doing that myself, but frankly, I think our nation needs us to serve right now, so I'm going to serve again. I had 26 years in the military with 2 combat tours. I led an 800-person battalion task force in the ground war into Iraq, and very proud of that, proud to bring them all home, and but probably most proud to be a wife and a mom. So, things that matter to me right now, number one is securing our border. I believe that we've got about 16.4 million illegal aliens coming over right now, and it's not a matter of being inhospitable, it's a matter of safety and security. We have a fentanyl disaster on our hands, and I've spoken to so many folks who have firsthand experience, very sadly, in dealing with overdoses and deaths in their own families because of that. We have rising crime, we have rising costs, we have rising danger across our district because of that. The next one is to work on fixing our broken economy. People are suffering across the district. I have worked myself at a food pantry handing out food to folks where they have been, for the first time, having to go to the food pantry and have to decide between buying food, buying gas, or paying rent. So, I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking, and folks have had to do that for the first time under this economy. We have to fix gas prices. We have to start drilling again. We have to get back to our own domestic energy. When we had energy independence, gas prices were around $2. Now you know what they are, and that impacts everything on the shelf, everything in the pharmacy, every time you drive someplace, every job, everything in life. I support our Second Amendment. I support our military, obviously. We need to have a strong military to deter aggression. We do not have that right now. Of course, I support our veterans. Our district is close to 10% veterans. We need to be taking much better care of them. We need to get into them jobs. We need to be prioritizing their health care. We need to be prioritizing their PTSD care as well. Now, I don't have much time left, but I want you to ask yourself some questions. This current administration, up and down the board, has given you higher prices, more expensive gas, fewer jobs, higher rent, more crime, more fentanyl, less safety. If you can answer the question that anything is better right now, then keep voting the way that you vote. But I'm going to say that everything right now in America is worse than it was 4 years ago, so I'd say it's time for a change. I'm Lori Buckout. I'm asking for your vote for Congress for North Carolina's 1st Congressional District. Thank you so much.
All right, next up is North Carolina Senate District 1. So the first candidate up for that is Miss Susan Harmon Scott.
It is great to be here in Currituck. What a beautiful county this is. I passed your high school on the way up here, and I saw the soccer team and the marching band out there practicing. I saw all the good farms. It is great to be here in Currituck. I want to thank the Currituck County Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum and thank everybody for being here. My name is Susan Harmon Scott. I've lived in North Carolina most of my life. I was educated in the public schools of North Carolina. I graduated from one of our great public universities, and I got a law degree at the Wake Forest University. I've practiced law in this district, including Currituck County, for 37 years, and I am familiar with the challenges that families and businesses have to face in northeastern North Carolina to make it. I have 2 children that grew up in northeastern North Carolina, were educated here in the public schools. I've been married for 403 years to my husband Bob, who's back there. Thank him. And I am a centrist, practical person. I have not run for political office before. I'm just a lawyer from Nag's Head who's lived in northeastern North Carolina for a long time. I'm running because I think if you take care of things in your community, all the pieces will fall into place. That is what I do every day at my law practice. I am running because I feel like the average person has been shut out of politics, that the General Assembly is responding to out-of-state groups that are obscenely wealthy and powerful, and they're passing legislation that doesn't really address the needs we have in northeastern North Carolina. They're wanting casinos instead of schools. They have defunded our public schools and taken the money that's supposed to go to educate our kids and put it into unaccountable private schools. Currituck County, the Currituck County Knights that I saw on the way up here, lost $326,490 for the 23-24 school year, taken right off the top, and the private schools that they fund don't have to account for any of it. You don't know what it's used for. So I'm very, very concerned about that. And I don't know how we're supposed to educate our kids to compete in a global economy in the 21st century if we don't have a robust, strong, elite public school system, especially in rural North Carolina where we don't have the population to support private schools. So that is very much a concern that is on my mind. The other issue that is on my mind is women's access to their reproductive health care to make their own decision. This is a very, very serious issue. My opponent has voted every time it's come up to heavily regulate women's ability to plan their own families without state interference. And the last bill that was passed in October 2023, there was a 46-page ban or restriction of regulations on women making the decisions for their family planning. So that is very, very concerning. And according to their platform on their website, they intend to take this much, much further into a way that will affect women's ability to access birth control. So that is very important that women be able to make their own family planning decisions. I've talked to folks all across this 10-county region, 10 counties in northeastern North Carolina. North Carolina first. My vision is for women to make their own healthcare choices without the input of somebody in Raleigh. And my vision is to stop backroom dealing and put everything on the table with regard to the use of our tax money. It's all got to be accounted for. So I would ask that you vote for me. My name is Susan Martin Scott. Thank you.
Next up, candidate for North Carolina Senate District 1, Mr. Bobby Hanning.
How's everybody doing tonight? Thank y'all for coming out. Give me just one second. All right. Josh, Chamber, thank y'all very much for putting this on this evening. If I can just take one quick moment. Been a lot of posts on Facebook today about 9/11. The one that really stuck with me most was the one that said, remember how we were on the 12th. Where this country was on the 12th of September. And how this country came together. We weren't Republicans, we weren't Democrats, we weren't independents. We were Americans. We need to get back to that. We need to stop the partisan nonsense that's going on in this country and in this state. I am not a partisan senator. I work on both sides of the aisle. It is important that we hear both sides of every issue, and we need to get back to that. And I strive to do that every single day. My name is Senator Bobby Hanning. For the last 8 years, I've had the honor and privilege to serve Currituck in Northeast North Carolina. I served for 2 years as the chairman of the Currituck Board of Commissioners. I served for 4 years in the House of Representatives, and I'm currently in my first term in North Carolina State Senate. Over those 8 years, I have fought vehemently for our military. I was a co-sponsor of the bill that removed the state tax on military retirement in 2021, I believe the year was. I have fought vigorously for our farmer and fishermen who are overregulated, that's causing our prices to go up, people to stop farming, people to stop fishing. We've got to release our regulations, we've got to let them fish, we've got to let them farm. They're the ones that feed us. Food doesn't come from Food Line. I fought vigorously for our law enforcement, our EMS, our firemen. They put their lives on the line every single day, and it's my responsibility to look after them, to help them, to increase their benefits, to make sure that they're safe when they go to work, and to make sure that they're funded. I have fought vigorously for our schools. Nothing is more important than our child's education. K-12 education is the most important thing that we fund in the General Assembly. For the last 14 years, there have been teacher raises. Have they been enough? No, they haven't. And I'm very vocal about that. We have got to be able to get the best and the brightest, and we got to be able to keep them. We need to bring our master's pay back. That was removed long before me. I believe that is important because our master's teachers are better teachers, and they bring more to the table, and they bring a better education. I have been a strong proponent for school choice. School choice builds a better product. I see it every day in my district. When I go to Martin County and I talk to that superintendent about school choice, she agrees. Public schools in Martin County have a far better product now because they know students have a choice. Business 101, business breeds competition. Competition builds a better product. That's why I support school choice. I've been a strong advocate for school safety. The General Assembly has budgeted hundreds of millions of dollars towards school safety in the last 6 years. I'm extremely proud of that. I've kept women out of men's sports. our community colleges. Our community colleges are what are going to help North Carolina succeed. Since I was a commissioner, I have fought vigorously to connect our high schools and our middle schools to our community colleges. Not everyone has a 4-year degree. Not everyone's going to get a 4-year degree. We need to set a path for our students to be successful. I only have 30 seconds left. I have 3 pages left. A couple of things, and those here that know me know that I don't like to talk about myself, but I feel like I need to. I have been endorsed by Scenic. Scenic is the largest state employee organization in the state. They typically do not endorse Republicans unless they're in leadership. That shows my ability and my need to work across the aisle, to work for every single person in my state, in this district. I have been endorsed by CPAC, the NRA, the Grassroots North Carolina, the PBA. No, that's not the Pro Bowlers Association, it's the Police Benevolent Association, countless mental health facilities, the Firemen's Association. What I'm most proud of is my constituent services. My office works hard every single day to make sure that my constituents are taken care of. He's coming to take me off the stage. I apologize. I'm Bobby Hanning. I really appreciate your support in November. It's an honor and privilege to serve each and every one of you, and I look forward to the future. Thank you.
All right, next race up is North Carolina House of Representatives District 1. Miss Susan Sullivan is up first.
It's a long walk.
I could have been ready.
Hello to everybody here tonight. I want to join everybody else in thanking the Currituck Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. It's events like this that make our democracy work well, and I'm proud of all of you for being here, and I'm really thankful that the Chamber's put this together. I want to thank the local candidates who are here, the current elected officials who are here, because you are walking the walk. You're not just talking the talk. You're actually spending your precious time in trying to improve your communities. Most of you don't know me, some of you do. I grew up in Dare County. I'm a product of Dare County schools. Manio High School used to play Currituck, and we always lost. Even when my son played football at First Flight High School, we usually lost. But I am a graduate of public schools and 2 public universities. All my children are graduates of public schools and also went to either community colleges or public universities in North Carolina. I'm an education kind of person. I'm a mother who's raised 4 children as a single mom for much of that time. I am a daughter who provides direct care to my 2 elderly parents who just recently moved into Peak Resources down in Nangston. I'm a grandmother who provides direct child care because there's not enough in our communities. My daughter and son-in-law live in Ira, they live in Currituck, and my son-in-law is actually a firefighter who is stationed at Knott's Island. So I know how important it is to marshal our local resources to pay for the services that we need, like fire and safety. I practiced law for 15 years. I went to law school in Chapel Hill and then ended up practicing in the Triangle for several years. But my last 5 years of practicing law, I was a guardian ad litem attorney representing the interests of children who had been removed from their families for abuse and neglect. And that was heartbreaking work. It was absolutely, sorry, I'm a teacher too and I walk. It was absolutely heartbreaking to watch how our systems kind of chew our children out, how the poverty-stricken don't have the resources they need to provide the care that they want to for their children. I'm an educator. I started a charter school. I'm all about school choice. But the way things are going now with school choice, we're not spending the dollars on our kids right now. We're spending the dollars in charter schools, sending them out of state to for-profit charter school operators. The school choice that's represented in the school voucher system is sending money away from your community to places like Fayetteville and Stanley County and Monroe. I went back to school in my late 40s and became a high school librarian, which was, honest to Pete, the best job I ever had. I loved working with young people. I love being part of the education system that's building up the next generation to help things be better for all of us. I am now currently a small business owner in Dare County. I own 3 bookstores, and you're all welcome. I carry all kinds of books for all kinds of tastes, so I'm sure you can find what you need. Mainly, even in my off hours, I've always been dedicated to public service. When I was a young woman, I was a member of the Junior League of Raleigh, and I worked for the Safe Space, the domestic violence program, as my volunteer work. I have worked on numerous nonprofit boards, and I founded that charter school as a volunteer for 3 years. I just have one question for you, and I want you to think about this when you leave, and I want you to think about this when you learn all you're learning about all the different races that are happening. At the state level, how fair do you think it is that we live in a state that is about 50-50 when it comes to political parties? When you look at even the unaffiliated, who make up 1/3 of our voting population, their votes tend to fall about 50-50. And yet, in the Senate and the legislature, we have super majorities that have been put into place by monkeying with the maps. In fact, one party, a small group of people in one party, have decided that rather than change their message and listen to you, the voter, they're just going to change who gets to vote for them and how strong your vote gets counted. I want you to pay attention, especially to the schools in your county, because you are about to lose a lot of money over this occupancy tax issue between Corolla and the mainland. And when you look at your schools, I wonder how fair you think it is that in your county last year you lost $326,000 of school money, and only $50,000 of it stayed here in your county. The rest of it went all across the state. Fayetteville alone, I'm almost done, Fayetteville alone received $6.5 million of that school voucher money, and the people that got it, most of them make more than $115,000 a year. I'm your education candidate, and I promise you that I will listen to you and represent you, even if you don't vote for me. Thank you.
All right, next up, candidate for North Carolina District House, Mr. Ed Goodwin. Is Mr. Goodwin here? Okay. And I'm also going to remind candidates, try to speak into the mic since we're recording, just to make sure we can pick it up. This adjusts too, if you need to adjust it, or you can take it off. Next up then, if Mr. Goodwin's not here, would be Currituck County Commissioner at Large, Mr. Claywood Wilson. Is Mr. Wilson here? Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Clayton Wilson. I'm not gonna stay up there and tell you my life story, but I've done, but it's not what you want to hear. You want to hear what I'm gonna do for Currituck County if I come commissioner. One thing I'm gonna do is try to get us a hospital. I don't see why we can't have a hospital like all the rest of the counties got. I know they're all small, but why can't we do it too? Number 2, Bellum Road. Number 3, to find out why kids go back to school and got to go to other places to work. I gotta find out the reason why they can't keep them here. Because a lot of places passes right on down, going to Cribble, Gates County, Greenville. These big industries should be here, getting the kids when they graduate somewhere to work. But we gotta hide it. But that's my main purpose, and to make sure that when we do have meetings and everything, you don't have to go online or make an appointment to hear me or the rest of the commissions what we're talking about. Because a lot of things going to Currituck County, a lot of people out here don't even know about it. Till you ride by and see it already built, or somebody done moved into it. Then number two is working on our roads. We got one of the best counties for tourists in the world. But Virginia, Delaware, Philadelphia, the roads are very perfect. We got potholes everywhere. But these things that, if I come commission, I'll make sure that what I know, you know. And that's my statement for being running for commission for Currituck County. My name is Craig Wilson Jr., and I authorize this.
All right, next up, candidate for Currituck County Commissioner at Large seat, Mr. Paul O'Neill.
You shorter people have to adjust it. My name is Paul O'Neill, and first I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I'd like to thank the Chamber for sponsoring this time, where we have a chance to speak with you and look you in the eye and talk to you about some of the things going on in Currituck County. I've got several things I'd like to talk about, but we have a very short amount of time, so I'm going to start out with number one, taxes. Everywhere I go, people are upset about the taxes. I had nothing to do with the taxes. I'm not an incumbent. I will say in 1994, when I ran my first term as county commissioner, the tax rate in Currituck County was 64 cents. It was more then than it is now. And during my tenure as a county commissioner, when I left the board in 2016, the tax rate, I believe, was 43 cents. We built a lot of buildings, we did a lot of things, and we stayed within the revenue that was generated in Currituck County without raising taxes. I do want to say that on the ballot, I understand there's a 1/4 cent sales tax that the folks at Currituck County will get to vote for in November. And I'm not endorsing it or saying against it. You folks in Currituck are wise and you'll make a wise decision. But I will tell you this, if that tax, sales tax, 1/4 cent does pass, I believe they said it would generate around $2.3 million. It will be my intention to reduce the property tax rate by a commensurate amount, which would equal about 3 cents if we in fact do pass that sales tax. So I'm not going to go up there looking to raise your taxes. I will not be looking to vote on any tax increases in Currituck County. Another thing is development. We've had a run of a lot of development in Currituck County. When I got elected in 1994, we were in a similar circumstance, although not quite as bad. But we went in and we made some drastic changes to the Unified Development Ordinance, and we put some controls on growth in Currituck County. We didn't stop growth. You gotta have growth to keep your county functioning. But we put some controls in on Currituck County and got our growth under control, built the schools that we needed in Currituck County, the facilities that you enjoy here in Currituck County. We did all that because we put things in place and used the tools available to us to put growth under control. Now, one of the things I want to do to address that is I want us to go back to having community meetings. We used to have community meetings when I was on the board. We go into a community and we would find out what the people thought instead of standing up there telling you what we thought. And then that gave us an opportunity to hear from you, and we could develop policies and plans based on what each community wants. What Knox Island wants is different than Moyock, which is different than Powell's Point, which is different than Grandy. And we've got to reflect those things. And it's going to take some hard work, and you're going to have to put some commissioners' feet to the fire as we move forward on some of these things. So that's one of the other things. Schools. We have to build schools. I hear people say, I don't have kids in school, so I shouldn't have to pay taxes for schools. Well, guess what? I don't have kids in schools, but somebody subsidized while my children were in school. Somebody subsidized while you were in school, and somebody's going to subsidize for your children. That's just the way it is. That's not going to change. That's established by the General Assembly. and we will continue to make sure our kids have proper education and funding in Currituck County. However, the school board and board of commissioners have got to get on the same page. We can't have somebody over here saying this and somebody over here saying this. We got to get on the same page, and everybody's got to have a thorough understanding of what the funds are, how much the funds are, and then allocate them and then spend them wisely. We cannot willy-nilly spend any more money. Economic development, we don't have an economic developer, but I've got an idea I want to pose to the Board of Commissioners if I'm successful. I've worked with every economic developer as a private citizen or as a commissioner that Currituck's ever had, and every one of them has told me I have no administrative help, so I can't get things done that I need done. I have no authority, so I can't make anybody do anything that I need done, so I can help these companies come into Currituck County. I've got 30 seconds. And I've not gotten a vision from the Board of Commissioners. So I'm going to propose, number one, that as the board hires a new county manager, that the assistant county manager also be assistant manager, economic developer, because that'll give the economic developer administrative help. It'll give the economic developer the authority of the county manager's office to get things done, and then the Board of Commissioners will give the vision for that person to follow through with as we go throughout the county. And then the last thing, capital projects. I want us to go back to the way we used to do it, fund it as you go, and not borrow all kinds of money. Set money aside, have a 5-10-year vision, and then start setting aside money for the capital projects that this county needs. We can't afford no more runaway taxes, and I will not support that. Thank you very much for coming.
All right, next up, we have candidates for Currituck County District 4. District 4. First up, Mr. John Snowden.
Some of you might not. All right, I'm gonna sound a little repetitive here. Good evening, thank you, everybody for coming out tonight. I know we've got the debates going on and there's a planning board meeting. Thanks to the chamber for hosting this event. It's very much appreciated. As the former publisher of the newspaper here in Currituck, I enjoyed these events because we all got to see the candidates and hear what they had to say. As Josh told you, my name is John Snowden. I am the unaffiliated, independent, write-in candidate, that's a mouthful, for the District 4 Board of Commissioners seat. I was born and raised in Macon. I'm a 1982 graduate of Currituck High School. I have a degree in computer science mathematics from East Carolina. I'm a mathematician. Thank you, Sam Casey, Lucian Griffin, and Roy Newbern. These are my math teachers in high school. I have a piece of paper in my hand that basically says I can do the math at the drive-thru and figure out the change. It's worth a little bit more than that. So I began my career at East Carolina University. I then moved to a tobacco company in Farmville, only place I've ever worked. They gave you an ashtray and a stapler on your desk. I engineered their global internet across 31 countries. That was my responsibility. I've worked for internet banking companies. I'm very high end on the data side. I work at the medical school now. I help make doctors. And I run a farm. I have a 70-acre farm here in Marco and Maple. I grow food and flowers. I do not grow houses. So after working all over the country, I moved back to Currituck and I started a newspaper from scratch. I was the publisher, the editor, the janitor, the ad sales guy, and the delivery guy. I had more circulation than the Daily Advance. I had more circulation than Virginia Pilot, and I had more circulation than the Custom Times by myself. And my mother, she was my driver. So after that, the economy went to crap, and I went back into database design and development. I started working at Hampton, and I ended up at East Virginia Medical School. I saved them, the first year I worked there, about $1 million by re-engineering processes. That's what I do, business process re-engineering. We can do better than what we've had for 14 years. We've had 14 years, and this is off the cuff, I'm off the sheet. We've had 14 years of zero planning. We have not put aside any money, like Mr. O'Neill said, for the inevitable. We've got growth that's just out of control. In the last 3 years, you've had 40% tax increase. You've had 6, 4, and a backdoor increase 3 years ago. Remember, I'm a mathematician, I can do the numbers. So I'm your fallback candidate. I went out and spoke to over 1,500 people and had 25 signatures short of getting my name on the ballot. Most of these other candidates haven't talked to that many people. I went out knocking on doors, mailing people. People are pissed off. So with your write-in vote, we will do better, because I will not just nod my head and go along. In 2007, I called the Board of Commissioners on a public meeting violation. I filed a lawsuit with my own money, and I won. Judge Richard Parker signed an order that the Board of Commissioners shall not violate public meeting law, which means they hold public meetings and they keep notes. Within the last year, we violated it. It's no longer a civil issue. Any citizen in this room can go in and file a criminal contempt of court violation. I put that in place with my own money and my own time. So let's get to where we've got to be. We need a citizen-friendly, business-friendly government. We need an open and transparent government. I've created 3 businesses in Currituck, and I work a full-time day job. Those businesses are on autopilot now, so I can dedicate time to this. Got a few more sheets. I'm going to be like Mr. Senator Hannigan, I'm going to run out of time. So we need to encourage citizen involvement. Citizen involvement, this is a big thing for me. The answers to our problems are in the retired people who live in our county. They've done the things that we're having problems with. We're not doing enough to engage them. I get paid to find answers where I work. I get paid pretty well. I don't even know why I'm doing this sometimes, but Josh, give me the we need to research and review the Unified Development Ordinance. We got to rewrite it. We can't let the developers keep eating our lunch. That's what's happening. We've got 2 or 3 businesses in Currituck that are profiting off the back of every single citizen in this county. If I sold ice at my farm and I cost everyone $500, somebody in the courthouse would shut me down. So I will say no. They've got a proposal tonight at the planning board. The developer of Fost, Florida, wants to change the commercial over to residential and put 330 more houses in there. They promised us a grocery store, and I'll tell you this, Commissioner Snowden would go, no. You promised us a grocery store, you will deliver a grocery store, and you will not get the rezoning and reclassification. You've got to learn to say no. Thank you. Oh, we're still clapping, so you probably like that.
All right, next up, candidate for Currituck County Commissioner District 4, Ms. Janet Rose.
Good evening. It's kind of sad to look out here and see 100, 150 people, and we have how many voters in Currituck? But I would like to thank each of you for coming, because that tells me that you care about our county and the direction we're heading. I am Janet Rose. I'm a native of Knott's Island. My grandparents had hunting and fishing lodges. So I have a strong connection to our heritage in Currituck. Hunting, fishing, farming, beaches. I love all of that. I value it. I want us to preserve it. I went to college, then I came back. I settled on the mainland in 1983. Started teaching school, married a commercial fisherman and a hunting guide, Paul Rose. We had 2 children, Tyler and Abby, both graduates of Currituck County High School. One went to COA and graduated, one graduated from NC State. I taught school for 32 years, but I also helped my husband with his seafood business and his produce business. In 2015, I retired from teaching and I transitioned over to real estate to support my family after the untimely death of my husband, Paul. And I'm not apologizing for being a realtor. People need houses. I assume all of you live in a house, so we have to have houses. It's a basic need. In the primary, there was a lot of negative talk about 3 realtors that were running for positions. I am not connected to any developers. I do not sit in any of the model homes for the subdivisions, but I do help people find a home when they reach out, and I love it. In all honesty, I think the commissioners could have used a realtor on their board. When they purchased the land for this new Tolls Creek Elementary, they failed to make sure they had the easement straight. Real Estate 101, get all your easement straight before you close on the property. That cost us about $350,000, $400,000 because they had to buy that little sliver of land from a developer. Not only did it cost us money, it's cost their school to put off being open. Instead of opening in August of 25, now we're looking at October of 25. So why am I running? I'm very concerned about the direction our county is heading. We're losing the flavor of Currituck County. We're rural. We've got farming. We've got hunting, fishing, beaches, and now we have a lot of traffic. We have experienced mega growth. We were not prepared for this. Our taxes went up quite a bit. It's hurting all of us. But were you surprised? You saw the houses going up. Did you go to the commissioners' meetings? I did. I voiced concerns. More people, we gotta have more services. Taxes go up. Impact fees. I've had so many people say, we need to make the developer pay an impact fee. Let them build the school, they're making the money. Well, Senator Hannig and I chatted this morning and he reminded me that we used to have impact fees until the early 2000s. And the General Assembly did away with impact fees because it was actually hampering the development a little too much. But instead of that, the General Assembly did choose, I believe he said 7 counties, perhaps 8. They allowed us to have a transfer tax. Currituck County is one of those 7 or 8 counties. Every home that is sold generates a 1% tax. That money goes into the general fund. A couple years ago, that equaled about $14 million. Imagine, just imagine, if we put that money aside for infrastructure, do you think we would have had these huge tax increases that we're experiencing? Promises. I'm not going to get up here and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. My only promise is I'm going to work hard for every citizen in Currituck. But I will tell you, I have leadership experience and I will use it. I've served on the Board of Education. I've served on the North Carolina Coastal Resource Commission. I've served on the North Carolina Marine Fisheries Commission, appointed by Governor Pat McCrory. I hope you will consider supporting me. Janet Rose, District 4 Commissioner. Be sure to fill in that oval on the ballot. Thank you.
All right, next up, we are moving to the Board of Education seats. The first Board of Education seat up is the at-large, and the first one up for that is Mr. Paul Beaumont.
Is it running? Good evening, everyone. Kind of sharing Janet's comments, you know, the county with as many people that vote, it is special that y'all came out tonight, and I also appreciate it. Thank you, Chamber, for putting on this event. Without this kind of a venue, I don't know how anybody learns where the candidates stand. So again, thank you for coming out. So, a little bit about me. I've only lived in Currituck County 29 years. We moved here and raised 11 children. We currently have 7 grandchildren, several of which live in Currituck County. My wife and I have been only married 40 years, and so it has been, the majority of my life has been with the love of my life, so I'm abundantly blessed there. So why am I running for the Board of Education? I've served Currituck County in multiple boards over the years. Board of Adjustment for 5 years, was on Fire EMS Board for 2 years, and I've been a commissioner now for 10 years. One of the first things I asked for when we had a joint meeting of the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education was, where are we on accreditation? Was told at the time by the superintendent at the time that there was no value in having accreditation. As a shout out to Will Currituck, we'll join the fight, and pleasantly, Currituck County is now accredited. That's been a 10-year process. Accreditation has significant value. It is marketable throughout the country. It's something that we need. But you can't get accredited or maintain your accreditation unless your education system supports that. Crucial to the survivability and the functionality of our education is our teachers. I coached football for 2 years at the middle school, 2 years at the high school. I used to talk to teachers all the time. They would approach me, largely because I was a commissioner, and bend my ear about how things were going. My general observation was teachers were largely undervalued by the administration. They were forced to endure students that were disrespectful. And it was not a pleasant environment. That was not the vehicle that they could realize the passion that they had when they became teachers. No one becomes well, what do I know? But I haven't heard of a single teacher that did it for the money. They do it because they want to invest in the children of our youth, which benefits our community. We need to be able to do things that help the teachers get the respect that they deserve, support from the top down, and have an advocate when it comes to the administration. I've seen, and Currituck County has lost multiple teachers because the administration ran them over. That's got to stop. You're not gonna recruit and retain quality personnel when they feel undervalued. We need to stop asking them to do things that really aren't a teacher's job. And we need to support them wherever we can. Part of that has to do with how much they get paid. And despite the large turnout, the Board of Commissioners has no say in how much teachers get paid. That is only the Board of Education. The vast majority of people that spoke at the meeting thought that the county commissioners were going to fire people or fire teachers. We have no authority to do that. All we do is fund the school system. What they do with the money is a different topic. One of the things that we need to do is, and it's my little motto, is we need to open the books. We need to know where the money's at. The Board of Commissioners follows a very rigid budgetary process, line by line, that is available for anybody to look at, including the citizens of Currituck County. Who's seen a Board of Education budget that's a line by line item? I haven't seen one in years. I'm talking to members of the Board of Education, they haven't seen one either. So if the Board of Education isn't even able to see where we're spending money, how can they tell us that it's being well spent? And the answer is they can't. So you'll hear talk about the fund balance. Let me explain what the fund balance is. The fund balance is they came to the Board of Commissioners and asked for money, and they didn't spend it. What they don't spend goes in the fund balance. It was at $4 million when I started as a commissioner. I think it's running right around $600,000, $700,000 now. I stand for 3 things. I want to see parents empowered. They should be able to see what their kids are learning. We need to open the books. We need to open the finances. We need to open the curriculum that our kids are being taught. And finally, we need to restore education to the greatness that Currituck County used to be. I thank you for coming out tonight. I would appreciate your consideration in your vote. I'll be back there. I'll be here all night. Come by and talk to me. Thank you so much.
All right, next up, candidate for at-large Board of Education seat, Mr. Jason Banks.
Just to echo